Welcome to footballgameplan.com, where football makes sense. I'm Emery Hunt, the czar of the playbook. Bring you our 2013 NFL Draft Special for the Washington Redskins. We're handing out draft grades, so we're going to go back and take a look at every last selection the Redskins made this past April, as well as some undrafted free agents that you want to keep an eye on. Due to the RG3 trade last season, the Redskins came into the 2013 draft without a first-round selection, but that doesn't mean they didn't come away with some day-one type talent and some impactful players. Let's take a look at the two running backs they selected: Chris Thompson out of Florida State and Juwan Jamison out of Rutgers. Both guys instantly upgrades the athleticism and the big play ability out that position. Chris Thompson is a guy that can go from 0 to 60 in a heartbeat. He's coming off an ACL surgery. And Juwan Jamison is a guy that reminds me of a throwback. I'm going to go all the way back to the Bills of the 90s and Kenneth Davis. Same type of skill set, can be valuable out of the backfield. What I like most about the Redskins draft is that last season there was an issue with their secondary. They didn't have a lot of playmakers on the back end. You can't say that anymore with the selection of David Amerson, the outstanding cornerback prospect out of NC State, 6'2", 195. Forget what happened this season. He still was able to play very well despite getting burned by a guy that went in the first round, Cordero Patterson. But you look at last season, 13 intercepts, led the nation. Anytime you can come away with the football that many times and you're on defense, I want you on my team. And I also like Philip Thomas out of Fresno State. Here's a guy that's a very sound tackler, and some say he compares to Jonathan Cyprien out of FIU that went earlier in the draft. But what separates Cyprien from Thomas is ball skills. Thomas was the nation's lead interceptor this season with 8. You want a guy like that on your back end. He erases mistakes, and not only can you get creative in putting him close to the line of scrimmage, you can also feel comfortable in getting creative in your blitz packages because you have a guy back there in Thomas that can eliminate the big play. And you can't go wrong with the safety named Rambo. And here's a guy throughout the course of the draft season, I had him mocked to the Redskins, albeit in round 2. The Redskins got him in round 6. And Rambo is another guy along the lines of Philip Thomas that can play strong or free, but also has the ability to match up one-on-one with wide receivers and tight ends, and definitely has the ball skills to play on the back end. And in round 5, they got a steal on the defensive side of the football with Brandon Jenkins out of Florida State. In 2011, this guy could have been a first-round selection. Went back, got injured, suffered an injury last year as well. So they're getting a guy, they're taking a chance on a guy that's coming off an injury, but outside edge rusher in a 3-4 defense, Brandon Jenkins is your guy. You see right there bowling over the tackle. That's what you want out that position. And if he checks out medically, the Redskins definitely got themselves a prize pass rusher. And Jordan Reed, I'm a big fan of. Loved him throughout the entire season and throughout the entire draft process. He instantly upgrades the explosiveness and athleticism at that tight end position. So now, if the Redskins want to get creative and bring in 3 tight ends in Paulson and Reed, even Niles Paul, and also Fred Davis, they can do so. Reed is a talent, and I think he can come in and have an impact from day one. Now, what I didn't like about the Redskins draft, I felt as though they should have added another big play wide receiving threat for RG3. I know they brought in 2 running backs and a tight end, Jordan Reed, but Derek Rogers was on the board out of Tennessee Tech, formerly of the University of Tennessee, and that would have given them a physical presence to go across the middle and catch those type of passes. So I think they could have upgraded the receiver position, but they chose to go defensively, and you can't knock them for that. But that's the one thing I didn't like about the Redskins draft. An undrafted free agent that could surprise and make the Redskins roster, you look at Xavier Nixon, tackle out of Florida. I think he's a better fit for what they want to do offensively as opposed to your classic drop back passing type of game. So I like this fit for the Redskins. He definitely has a chance to stick and be a depth guy along that offensive line. The Redskins clearly get an A+ for their draft from me. When you look at what was last year's weakness, the secondary, now is arguably the strength of this ball club. Getting guys back there that can catch interceptions is key. The reason why I'm so big on ball hawks is the fact that these are guys that have just as equal of a chance to catch a pass as does the opponent wide receiver. That's what you want out there in your secondary making plays, and that allows your front 7 to be much more aggressive, and it could lead to them being the top 10 defense in the National Football League. And I want to give a huge shout out to Redskin fan forums for always showing football game plan support.